Hello, this is Justice Spectrum, and welcome back to God, Guns, Gaming, and GOP. So, in my short life, I've participated in a number of political uh, actions, things, protests, and such like. In the past year or so, we've seen a lot of such actions with the lockdown protests, the BLM protests and riots, and the voter fraud protests, and eventually the DC riots, and maybe more since the time I recorded this video. Um, Now, protests and lobbies are great, and we have a right to participate in them. Riots, not so much. But it recently struck me that we've kind of been ignoring one of the other options we have, namely petitions. We're explicitly given the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances in the First Amendment. Now, you might think that protests would be more effective, but that might not necessarily be the case. Um, First of all, you can get more people to participate in a petition than a protest. Participating in a petition can be as easy as signing your name on a piece of paper. Oftentimes, participating in a protest can involve standing out somewhere with a sign for hours at a time, often in cold or hot weather, uh, like extreme weather. And a lot of people simply don't have the time. Besides that, it can be hard to get everybody at the same time for a protest, as you have to work around different schedules. Also, considering the sheer size of the nation or state or whatever, uh, depending on what level you're protesting, it can be incredibly hard to organize like a nationwide protest at a single location and expect to get much of a crowd, or at least much of a diverse crowd. Um, Secondly, protests can be easily ignored. Most people tend to think protesters are radicals and not indicative of everyone they might actually be indicative of. Um, Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Petitions can be more easily, or petitions can more easily attract a larger number of participants and such, less of an obvious things. Uh, Despite being less of an obvious thing, in some ways, they may still demand more attention and with more authority. The last reason petitions may be a better alternative to protests is because the lack of uh, the aspect of having a physical presence, they that would because there's no physical presence, they'd be far less likely to descend into a riot, which tends to only detract from the message you're trying to spread. On the other hand, a petition with a significant enough amount of signatures may more directly lead to a next step. Protests may be less indicative of the general population, and a petition with a significant portion of the population, it being ignored, may, in some cases, be a legitimate reason for a revolution, or at least the next step, like perhaps a boycott. Anyways, uh, those are just anyways, though, those are just some of my thoughts. And if you have any, you can let me know what they are in the comment section below. But with that said, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.